Tuesday, we will be discussing a brand new upgrade to Bidbuy. The version will be moving up to 16.1. We have some exciting news to share with you regarding the upgrade. That's going to take place in a couple weeks. I'm also going to talk about what does a vendor see on a PO? A question that has come up every once in a while about the show to vendor and confidential at the PO, and we haven't talked about it in a while, so I wanted to walk through that. We also have our monthly Bidbuy training tomorrow and a Bidbuy optional practice session on Thursday, and then our fun fact of the day and quote of the day. So first up, Bidbuy upgrade to version 16.1. So this is just a heads up. We got a couple weeks, and we'll be discussing more details regarding the upgrade next Tuesday. But we did want to go ahead and let you guys kind of mark it on your calendar. Bidbuy is going to be down on that Friday evening, September 17th. We'll get a specific time, and of course, anytime that happens for maintenance or upgrades, it usually happens, or so far, it's always going to happen on a Friday night. And of course, there'll be a news item that is posted onto Bidbuy. So much more regarding that next week. We'll get into the nitty gritty a little bit more about what's going to be changing on the specific updates. But so effectively for you guys, really that Monday morning, September 20th, will be when you really see the upgrade. So we'll talk about what's going to be happening in the upgrade next Tuesday, but I at least want to let you guys know some great news regarding one of the big changes that's going to be happening in version 16.1, which is a pricing lockbox functionality. There's a new feature in 16.1 where you can put a pricing lockbox where you're going to be able to check a box when you are creating your bid, and that's going to create a pricing lockbox. So this is going to be effective for our RFPs. And so in the future, you're not going to have those two separate technical and pricing bids. So this is really a game changer for any of those agencies that conduct RFPs. A lot more answers, and we'll get into it a little bit more next week as we'll have questions, and of course we'll have new job aids for our RFPs. But just in a very broad sense, you won't have to have two separate technical and pricing bids. So that's great news. Really exciting for us on this side of it too, to be able to offer that with that new version. So a lot more to come regarding this next week. As we'll get into the nitty gritty, I'll walk through an example, show you exactly what it's going to look like, the changes, all that sort of stuff. So exciting news, but we'll talk more about that next week. Okay, so what does a vendor see on a purchase order? Like I said earlier, it's a question that comes up every once in a while, and so now seems like it would be a good time. So marking a fully executed contract, show to vendor, and confidential at the PO. So just here's a quick little screenshot from the job aid, and you'll see that on all of those job aids where the fully executed contract is the one that's marked show to vendor, but it's also marked confidential. And you would see on a lot of your job aids too, whereas a lot of the internal documents, they're not marked show to vendor, but they are marked confidential. And so I wanted to show you just what really, what that means. I'll jump into Bidbuy real quick and kind of show you that. So when you go in and attach that fully executed document, the show to vendor function at the purchase order just means that one vendor that's listed on the PO can see that document. If it's marked confidential, nobody else can see it. So, and that's a little bit different than at the bid stage. So at the PO, show to vendor refers only to the vendor that's listed on the PO, not the general public. So this is different because at the bid stage, when you're marking those documents show to vendor, that's essentially publicly viewable because, right, everything at our bid stage is where we are publicly posting out to the general public. So at PO, it's a little bit different. Show to vendor only means that one vendor that's listed in the vendors tab. So, and really what this comes down to is it's a functionality within the system that allows vendors to be able to view their contracts with the state of Illinois. So it's a nice feature for them too, that they don't have to technically have to have a separate, restore all of their contracts with the state of Illinois. So you can view, think about it like this. Confidential means not viewable by the public. but show to vendor at the PO, only that one vendor can view it. So let's go out real quick and show you. Let's see, my understanding that when marked show to vendor, it can be seen by the public on the front page of Bidbuy. So yes, if it says show to vendor, but if it's also marked confidential, that means only that one vendor can see it. So at the bid stage, where we mark things show to vendor, that means it is publicly viewable from that home screen, like you're saying. But once you get to the PO, if you mark show to vendor and confidential, it only means that one vendor can view it. So let's see, I'm in train. I just pulled up a PO from a training that we did last week, or I'm sorry, a few weeks ago. You can see here, I'm just in the attachments tab at the PO that's in sent status. You can see all of our documents that we had added when we created the requisition and the bid and the PO. And then we get to the PO, you can see that the fully executed contract, or BOA, is marked show to vendor and marked confidential. These other documents that are more internal, the IPG documentation, the IPG percentage of ownership form, and the vendor signed contract are marked confidential. So when we go, I'm going to log into my vendor account, and you're going to be able to see what a vendor sees. So let's just remember real quick, these other three documents, the IPG documentation and the vendor signed contract, are not show to vendor. However, the fully executed contract is show to vendor and confidential. And these other documents, like the standard terms and conditions, those are marked show to vendor. So I'm going to be able to see those as well. So I'm going to go ahead and move that box. I'm going to log out of my basic purchasing. I'm going to log back in as my vendor. Okay, so this is what it looks like as a vendor. If I go in and look at my POs that I have as a vendor, let's see, where is that? That's this one, the little red Corvette we bought. So I go to that PO. I can see all the information on that purchase order. If I scroll down to the attachments, or if I go to the attachments tab, these are the documents that I can see. So only the documents that were marked show to vendor and confidential, or just show to vendor, would be able to be viewable here. So again, you can see here, here's that fully executed contract. But if you remember, those three other documents that were internal only, like the IPG documentation and the vendor signed contract that we had marked not show to vendor, but we had marked confidential, I can't see that here. Let's see here. I'm talking about the PO. Okay, right? We have master contracts that other government units must see, for sure. So at the master contract level, but those are probably not marked confidential. They're show to vendor, correct, but they're probably not marked confidential. That's the difference here. So we were told to mark the redacted versions, show to vendor, so everyone can see it. Yep. So again, if it's marked just show to vendor, that is publicly viewable. But if you mark show to vendor and confidential, you're only getting, only that one vendor would be able to see it. So that is correct. The process you're doing is correct. Okay, so it's just handy sometimes to see what the vendor can see, and really when we're checking these boxes and all those job aids and those sorts of things, there's the why behind it, right? So remember, those job aids are there to walk you through step by step, but the more knowledge you have about the system, the better we all are. All right, great. Okay, pretty straightforward. No other questions at this point. All right, and I'll go back to our slides. Okay, all right, our Bidbuy training. So we do Bidbuy monthly training, the second Wednesday of each month, which will be tomorrow, Wednesday, September 8th, is an all-day training that we offer up in order to get access to the system, or for just a refresher. If you guys have access to the system already and you want to join us, please feel free. We do have 4 different sessions, so if you're coming in just as a refresher, feel free to jump in on either one of them or join us all day. However, if you're brand new and need to get access, you do need to attend all 4 sessions. At 9 a.m., we do a general overview, general navigation of the system. take a break. We do small purchase under $10,000 at 10:15. After lunch at 1 p.m. we do a small purchase over $10,000, take a small break, and then we finish the day at 3 p.m. doing release off of master training. Straightforward. Nothing has really changed from this training. This is the very 101 basic training for Bidbuy. However, please feel free to join if you'd like. It is open. Pre-registration is not required. You can simply click on the link here that are in the slides. This is also on our calendar of events page on the CPOGS site. You can always click into that and you can jump right on in. Okay. And also, we do our Bidbuy practice sessions the second and third Thursday of each month. So that means this Thursday, September 9th, we will be having our Bidbuy practice session. This is just going to allow you guys to walk through and practice on your own with Derek and I on the call to be able to troubleshoot any examples you may have. You do not have to have attended the previous session, the previous Bidbuy training session to show up and work through anything on Thursday. So it's kind of a little bit more of a free-for-all. It's a little more informal. We can share screens and be a little bit more collaborative in that way. And the links are in the training center. There are two different links for the second Thursday versus the third Thursday, and those will occur this Thursday and next Thursday. So this doesn't replace the Q&A on the monthly training. We still want you to ask questions on our Wednesday training. This is just another opportunity for you guys to practice and get some help if you need. Okay, and here's the link I always keep, or the slide I always keep up. Where can I find those Training Tuesday and the Bidbuy training links? Here are the links to the CPOGS site, the Training Tuesday specific link right there, and then the calendar of events that'll get you to also to our Bidbuy training. Okay, our fun fact of the day, Sweden has 267,570 islands. I had no idea. The most of any country in the world. Thought that was pretty cool. Kind of amazing to see all those little islands there. And then our quote of the day, you know, they're cliches because they're true. I love these. There's 1,000 different ways to say this, but success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. So it really is those little things that you do over a long period of time is really going to get you where you want to go. So if you have any other questions regarding those, what we talked about today, please feel free to reach out to us. I'll send the slides out and the recording will be posted shortly. And I'm really excited to talk more about the Bidbuy upgrade, and we'll give you a lot more information next Tuesday. And everybody have a great rest of your short week, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.